He scrubbed toilets for 40 years, drove a rusted-out pickup, wore the same faded work boots every day. Everyone thought he was just the quiet janitor with a kind smile, but no one knew he was quietly building an $8 million fortune behind the scenes. No lottery win, no inheritance, just smart choices, discipline, and a plan no one saw coming. Henry was born in the rusted heart of Youngstown, Ohio, a city where the once mighty steel mills now weep over lost jobs, and hope was as scarce as a warm meal on a cold day. His father, a third-generation factory worker, and his mother, a dedicated house cleaner, taught him early on that survival wasn't about luxury, it was about making every cent count. At 12, while most kids only dreamed, Henry turned his backyard into a scrap metal hustle, hauling discarded car parts in a stolen shopping cart, selling them for a mere 50 cents per pound. His parents always drilled one rule into him:
if you don't need it, save it.
For Henry, that meant tracking every dime in a worn-out notebook, turning scarcity into the first lessons of wealth. Poverty wasn't just a circumstance for Henry, it was an identity. When he once asked for new shoes, his father tossed him a pay stub with a single cryptic message:
"See that 2.13 tax? That's your shoes."
While other kids talked about dreams, Henry learned that every hardship was a stepping stone, and that true wealth was built on consistency, not on what you were given. In 1981, Henry quietly hit what most would consider rock bottom, not emotionally, but financially. His wages as a janitor barely kept pace with rising rent, and he lived in a tiny attic above a garage, often skipping meals to stretch his budget. In 2009, Henry hit rock bottom, laid off from his janitor job, burdened with $18,000 in medical debt from his wife's cancer scare, and evicted from their trailer. His breaking point came when an administrator laughed at his suggestion to switch vendors. "Stay in your lane, mop boy." That night, hunched over a stolen spreadsheet in the boiler room, Henry made two vows: never beg again, and if they won't listen, I'll buy the damn place. Depression haunted him, but rage kept him sharp. Every insult became fuel. "They thought I was invisible," he says. "That was my advantage." His life shifted, not with a raise or a winning lottery ticket, but with a book, a forgotten copy of The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham, pulled from a donation box at the school library. At first, he didn't understand the language, but night after night, he studied every line. One quote hit him like lightning: "The investor's chief problem, and even his worst enemy, is likely to be himself." He realized that his low income wasn't his biggest barrier. It was his mindset. That night, he vowed that every dollar he saved would become a worker. The turning point came in the hospital's trash room. While hauling away shredded documents, he spotted an intact financial report, a secret ledger of the hospital's supply costs. With no money or connections, banks laughed at his janitor startup. But then Marcus's voice echoed in his head.
"Money flows where the arrogant are too blind to look." That was the moment he decided, if they won't listen, I'll buy the damn place.
The numbers made his hands shake. A single box of gloves bought for $3 overseas cost a staggering $87 here. That night, he ran the math. If he could undercut their suppliers by even 10%, he'd make millions. Henry's first hustle was pure insanity. He used his last $412, money meant for his wife's medication, to import a pallet of surgical gloves from Malaysia. He lied to the supplier, claiming he was procurement director Henry Walsh. His first sale netted him a $3,200 profit, selling those gloves back to his boss. Within 6 months, he expanded to 4 bags and syringes, clearing $15,000 every month, all while still mopping floors. His biggest gamble? Taking out a loan against his car to buy a failing medical supply wholesaler, the very one that had fired him years earlier. When the bank asked for collateral, he handed them a spreadsheet showing how he'd already captured 12% of their clients. The loan officer's jaw dropped. Henry's strategy was simple. Hospitals overpay middlemen. Become the middleman, then undercut yourself. His wealth wasn't built by chance. It was built by routine. Every payday, without fail, he deposited 20% of his income into a low-cost index fund. Rain or shine, bull market or crash. He had one simple rule: if I don't see it, I won't spend it. He treated investing like rent, non-negotiable. He brown-bagged his lunch every day, borrowed books instead of buying them, and tracked every expense in a handwritten notebook. His secret wasn't just frugality, it was consistency. While others waited for the right time to invest, he just kept going. His biggest regret? Not starting sooner. For years, he feared the stock market, but after missing early gains, he told himself, fear costs more than failure. That mindset is what made him wealthy, and it's why he never worried about money again. Henry's empire ran on 3 ruthless rules: the 5 a.m. laundry ritual, the ghost margin, and the 49% rule. His darkest lesson? Early on, he bought a $20,000 glove shipment, only to learn they were counterfeit. Now he tests every batch himself, wearing them during his shifts. Money isn't made in boardrooms, he says. It's made in the dirt where no one one looks. By the time he retired in 2008, Henry had quietly amassed over $8 million in investments, all built from janitor paychecks, dividend reinvestments, and the relentless power of compound interest. He never owned a business, never went viral, never even talked about money. His first big win wasn't a paycheck. It was when his portfolio crossed $1 million while he still drove a rusted pickup truck. He didn't chase fame until news of his hidden fortune broke after his death. The janitor millionaire became a national headline, featured in Forbes, CNN, and countless personal finance blogs. But his most inspiring quote wasn't found in a book. It was scribbled on a yellow sticky note next to his desk. Start with what you have. Grow with what you know. Despite his multi-million-dollar portfolio, Henry's lifestyle never changed. He lived in the same small house for over 40 years, drove an old pickup, and often wore patched clothes. His guilty pleasure? A weekly newspaper and black coffee from the same corner diner. Just $3 spent with pure joy. When Henry passed, it was revealed he had donated over $5 million to local libraries, hospitals, and education programs, funds that also established 12 scholarships for underprivileged students. He always believed luxury is knowing you'll never run out, not proving it to anyone. Henry lives like a ghost with a Swiss bank account. He donates 15% of his profits to cover cancer treatments for uninsured janitors and nurses. Money isn't for hoarding, it's for healing the scars no one sees. His viral moment? A leaked photo of him mopping floors at one of his own clinics captioned, "Retirement is a scam. Purpose is forever." Financial freedom for Henry isn't about yachts or Rolexes. It's the power to wire $500,000 anonymously to a struggling hospital, then smirk as clueless execs call it a miracle. His only indulgence? A basement filled with vintage medical tools to remind him where the real work happens. His legacy wasn't measured by headlines. It was measured by hope. He didn't build flashy businesses or mentor CEOs. Through quiet donations and strategic planning, he helped hundreds of students afford college, funded 2 small-town libraries, and supported local food programs that now proudly bear his name. He once wrote, "Money isn't the goal, peace is, and giving quietly is the loudest statement you'll ever make." Henry's legacy isn't measured in millions. It's in the 1,200-plus uninsured hospital workers who've received free cancer treatments through his clinics, and the 27 small-town medical centers he's revived through anonymous donations. He never sought the spotlight. Instead, he quietly mentored janitors and nurses, teaching them to spot financial waste in their workplaces. Henry proved that greatness can arise from simplicity, and that the truest success is living life on your own terms, and then using that freedom to make life better for others. The world will never know Henry's name, and that's how he won. True wealth isn't stacked in banks. It's buried in the lives you lift while everyone's looking the other way.
Do you know what most people don't realize? Wealth isn't a number. It's freedom to choose. This man didn't wait for permission. He built wealth with what others threw away: time, patience, and silence. So ask yourself, if he turned his life around on $40,000 a year, what could you build with what you have? You don't have to be famous, just wise.
Henry's story screams one truth. You don't need fame, luck, or a fancy degree. You need the guts to exploit what others ignore. His $8 million fortune wasn't built in boardrooms, but in the shadows of hospital basements and laundromats.
Wealth isn't a number. It's freedom to choose, freedom to work in the dark, freedom to win without applause.
Now ask yourself, what's your version of freedom? And what trash will you turn into treasure to get it? Smash that like button if you'd rather be rich than famous. Comment shadows for Henry's free stealth wealth playbook.